Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are on day 22, and I am going to be working on 21 as well in this video, but I'm going out of order. So I know you guys haven't seen 19 either. I honestly just didn't feel like picking up the camera that day. So I do have 19 done and in my book, and you'll see that when I do the flip through of my album at the end of the month, but I just didn't feel like picking up the camera and editing, and so forgive me. But we are going to do 21 and 22 in this video, and we're starting with 22, and then I'll go back and do 21. The 22nd was Sunday, I believe, and we did go to church. I don't document going to church, hardly ever, but I just don't take pictures at church. It's weird. I'm awkward. So I stole this screenshot off of his Facebook page, and it's really hard to read, but it shows what the scripture was up on the screen. And it was, "This will be the sign for you. You will find a baby wrapped tightly in cloth lying in a manger." And I thought that was perfect for this time of month. And I had this stamp set in my stash. It's from close to my heart, the "Unto Us a Child is Born." So I just stamped a whole bunch of those images and laid them out down here. This barn stable, I stamped directly onto my page, and then I just cut out all these little images and colored them in with my tri-blend markers, and I thought they were super cute. So I'm thinking something like that, and then having my picture down here somehow. And I have a giant title. I'm going to need to find room for that 22 also. But I cut my title out of some thin cuts from my stash, and here they are. So I have the reason for the season written out here. So I'm just going to slide those aside, and we're going to see if I can get that to fit on this layout. Fun fact, my husband and I actually met at church, and it wasn't this church. It was a different church. I had just moved to town. He came to town to go to church. So there is no other way our paths would have crossed if we both hadn't been going to that church at the time. I did not have room for the full title, but since we're kind of doing almost a junk journal type feel in this album, I think it might be fun to just run it all together. And you can still read it, the reason for the season. But I have like 4 going on to the next line. So I might just do kind of like that junk journal feel up there, and then have my little scene down here. And there's some empty room in my picture there, so that might be where I put the 22. I could even bring this down a little bit. I don't want to cover up that the screen here that has that scripture on it. But I think that might be kind of fun. I do want to back my photo, I think. Maybe on some... I could try the darker side of Glacier. I did all this in Glacier. So if I do... I might do that just to finish it off. I'll go ahead and start adhering stuff down, and then I'll come back. I'm using my reverse tweezers and some Barely art glue to get these letters in place. And these are pretty easy to line up, especially since I'm going so close to the top of the white piece of paper. So just getting those all lined up, and then we'll go ahead and start on the embellishing down below. I love the little scene that it creates. Are you guys doing a December daily this year? Let me know in the comments below. Are you keeping up? On my stamp set, I do have that star. So I am going to stamp that over here and emboss it to match my 20. So I have my Versamark ink. And before I do that, I'm going to add a little anti-static powder, which is my cornstarch. So I'm just going to put that down here so that the glitter doesn't stick to anything around where I'm putting that. Shake that off a little bit so it's not blocking my adhesive or my Versamark. And we'll just stamp that right about here. And then pour a little powder on that. Seems like a lot of work for one little star, but I want it to match that 22. There we go. And then I just have my heating tool here. I'm gonna let it heat up a little bit first and then bring it to my page. There is story 22, which happened to be on day 22. All right, let's get going on day 21. Day 21 is going on the back of day 20. I have some ink marks here that we need to make sure we cover, and it's going to be a double page layout. So it's going to go on the back of 22 as well. So I have a lot of markings to cover up on this one. If I can't get my paper to line up right, to cover that, or my pictures to line up, I can just cut another piece of white to go in place of that. But we'll see if I can get by without because of the bulk. I don't want to add another piece of white cardstock if I don't have to, just to keep my pages less bulky. I have a bunch of photos of my husband and I baking. So on this particular day, we were making all of our baked goods for our families. And I have a couple little ones too. Don't worry, she wasn't that close to the food. I know, dog hair, whatever, but she wasn't that close to them. She wasn't breathing on them. But yeah, so I have all these photos. I have a feeling I'm going to need some flip-flops, but we're going to see what I can come up with here. I also want to use this old die cut from the Freshly Baked. I love this die cut of the baking sheet. So I want to bring that in, and then maybe the one cute cookie, or maybe this frosting. I already did Life is Short, Lick the Bowl on a different layout in this book. So if I do a title from here, I think it'll be One Cute Cookie. I've been playing around a little bit. This is 6 by 7 inches, and I thought I could split that between the two pages here and then have 2 flip-flaps. So I have 3 here for a flip-flap and 3 here for a flip-flap. I did cut this out of foil paper, so I thought that could go behind and kind of matte behind a photo. Here's my number, the 21. Not sure where I want that yet. Here's the One Cute Cookie. That would fit perfectly there. And then I have these 2 2x2 photos. So then I thought maybe something like that. Maybe I could do the number in between. Maybe do some white. I'm not sure. I do think I want to round these corners. And then as you can see, I still have some of that ink showing through down here. So maybe do another matte of some sort. I thought the bells were cute. I do have some other papers for options. Let's cut this in half, so that would be 3 inches. And I am going to round the corners. So I'm just going to round this one, and then this one, and this one. I don't know that that got perfect. There we go. Okay, and I want to matte my photos on white. I like how that looks when I matte them on white, and maybe bring in some green somewhere. I do have this frosting as well that I could ink along. Maybe even bring this down a little bit, and then I could, that covers up that ink spot there. I could bring this down and maybe do frosting along here. I'm going to play around a little bit more, maybe stamp my title so I know where that's going to go. I decided to use my mini Misty here to stamp on the One Cute Cookie. And I already got it all inked up, but I don't want to waste that ink. So I'm going to attempt to get it off this block. And okay, and then we'll put it here, hopefully. So then when we close it, it'll be right there. Okay. We're already off to a roughie. We're already off to a rough start. Okay. Let's try this. I'm using jade ink to bring in some darker green. And as you can see, I have some green back here too. Oh, actually, that doesn't look too bad. One cute cookie. So I cut out, okay, let's start from the beginning here. So I have some photo mats cut for all of my photos. This is out of that shimmer paper, or not shimmer, silver foil. That is from Stampin' Up, so I'll try to have that linked below. And then I cut these down to 4x6 so that they'll slide under here and then have a white border going around. So that is that. And I'll have the red a little closer down to the bottom so that I can cover up some of that brown ink. And I do want to ink around all these edges. And then I thought bringing in the dark green, which I will fussy cut this out, I could bring in some dark green embellishments down here. I'm not quite sure if I'm in love with the trees yet, but that is where I'm starting. And then I was thinking I could bring that frosting in and go along just under these two green parts. So I'm going to use, let's use brown ink, the early espresso, and ink around all my papers. These are my base photos. Flip flaps are going to go on top of those. I stamped and fussy cut one cute cookie, and then I stamped these little, you know, things down here. Oh, it's just a shadow on my picture. It looks like a ink spot. I am going to add these two photos here. And then for my embellishments, I went around all of the white photo mats with some brown ink to match the rest of the pattern papers. I inked around those too, and I just thought that helped the white pop off since there is some white in the bells. Okay, so I have this 21 that could go down here. And then I thought maybe bringing some trees in over here would be cute. So I could kind of do like that. And maybe even a red one somewhere. I decided this tree was too dainty to add to this cluster, so I'm just going to do these three. And if you didn't notice, I brought out some of my letters just from my stash, and I thought I could spell out baking memories. I think that's a cute little play on words. So I'm still not quite sure where I want this 21, that it won't be covered by a flip flap. But I know I like this cluster down here. It brings that green over, it ties in the frosting. And let's figure out where I want the baking memories. So I put out baking memories on my ruler here. There's a gap right here. That's why I had to separate those. But there's more room over here than there is over here. Plus my flip flap is gonna go here. So I don't want it to cover part of my title. That might be weird. So I'm thinking baking memories right over here. So if I have memories start here, I'm just going to tack down the tops of those, and easy enough to just place back on. And then if I do the IES, hopefully this is straight. These stickers are pretty easy to adhere straight. And then baking, we kind of want to center. So if I start on the E, let's see if I can do this. Oh, baking memories. So then we could either put the 21 somewhere over here, or we could put it down here. Maybe there, and I don't need a whole lot of journaling on this page, but I do kind of want it to touch, I think. We could even add a tree over here somehow. Here's another polka dot one. So then that would kind of tie in. There, yeah, I think I like that, and it just kind of ties in that other page. Here is the finished 21 story. So it's on the back of 20. If you guys are enjoying this series, let me know down in the comments and give this a big thumbs up. This is my first time doing a December daily on social media. I did one a couple years ago, but let me know in the comments. Are you enjoying this? Do you want to see me do it again next year, or is this a waste of my time? Let me know in the comments and give it a big thumbs up if you are liking this series. I'll go ahead and put these in my page protectors and show you how I add the flip flaps. Before I add these to my flip flaps, I do want to add some enamel dots. And since I brought black in over here, let's go ahead and use some of these black ones. These are called the Classic Matte Dots from Stampin' Up. I got these in the page protectors. You just want to make sure they're all the way in. Sometimes I add my flip flaps to the inside and then I cut a slit in my page protector. But since I have so much going on with this album, I don't want to risk having things catch and snag and stuff and rip my page protectors. So I'm going to go on the outside, and I just put my pictures in, peeled that off, fold it over, and then I like to line up the photo with the photo so that you can't see that peeking out behind. And then you can take your bone folder or your scraper and just burnish that in real good. Okay, quick and easy. So this one has the flip over here. This one has the flip up top, but they're both 3x4s. And Stampin' Up! Is going to start carrying these January 7th. So be sure to check my website if you are into these flip flaps. I absolutely love them. You get to add more pictures without changing the design of your layout. There we go. These can go ahead and go in my album. So we have 21 and 22 done. All right, guys, until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye.